but that was his team.
I was a Packers fan in the 90s.
Really?
Yes, when they beat the Patriots, I celebrated. I'll admit that.
Right.
I did, but that was my team.
That was his
I was a
team.
Packers fan.
Okay.
But I mean, competition has been with us for a long time.
Yep.
I mean, going the Colosseums in Italy. I mean, it's gladiators. Spectator sports have been around for a long time, and if they ran out of people to fight, they threw a lion in the ring with the guy, knowing he had no chance of winning. But it was people paid to see it and always wanted to be a part of it. It's something that's just been with us. We gonna compete or like to watch competition or root for our guy from our neighborhood, our city, our state. You go to Europe and you watch England play Ireland, a soccer game or something like that. They look for that all year. They can't wait for that. And riots break out over those soccer matches. It's been going on for 100 years.
It's almost as if we have to have something to believe in as, human beings. I'm not saying sports is the end all, but it's part of it. We love to believe in something and want to see it, carry through. That's why when our teams lose, I know especially here in Boston, we're devastated, We all remember, the Red Sox losing, and we're not of that generation that really suffered, but we've seen enough to know when they would lose, oh man, it's a rainy day, everyone's looking at each other funny on the train.
Patriots lose in 07 after going undefeated. People called in sick from work.
Right.
I mean,
So,
it's that important.
I get it. Do you guys watch the Olympics?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
What's your favorite Olympic sport?
Oh man.
I love
Summer Olympics.
Summer Olympics. Winter is cool too.
Yeah, I like the Winter Olympics.
Summer, it used to be track and field, but for some reason now I'm more into the swimming. I don't know if it was Michael Phelps and that whole, thing
Staying
that
up
was
to 2
going
o'clock
on.
in the morning, seeing if you break records.
The dream team, the whole basketball thing, it was more important to me when it was the original dream team. Now I still watch and I love it, but I'm not as enthusiastic about it. But hey, being honest, I love watching the gymnastics. I think that's great. It's the sports that we don't get to see on an everyday basis.
Right.
And just for, every 4 years, there's certain sports that get the attention that they deserve. You don't have to go to ESPN2 or search, really hard to find a sport. You get to watch it, and it's put in prime time. And again, it's folks you want to root for because it's your country being represented.
Yeah, you're watching Taekwondo. You never watched it in your life, but because it's USA versus whoever, you're rooting. You're staying up all night like, man, I hope they win. I hope they get the gold medal. And you're looking up the medal count, seeing if we're near the top. Even if they don't win anything for that, you just see if the United States was better than everybody else. I mean, it's the world competition.
Last thing I didn't get a chance to ask you, where are you from? Where are you from?
Oh, I always say this. Grove Hall. That's where I'm from. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my whole family. But born and raised Boston, Massachusetts, no doubt.
Okay,
No
and
doubt.
you?
Same here. Born and raised, grew up in Roxbury.
If you
Boston
had an
always been my town.
opportunity to go to one place,
Oh, man,
name
that's
that
easy.
one place.
That's easy for me. Oh, North Carolina. Wouldn't hesitate.
Okay, and you?
Florida.
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 So you would stay here in the U.S.?
Yeah. To live, yeah.
Yeah.
I would stay here.
There's a
I
lot
don't
of
know
people
about that.
complaining and saying, oh, the U.S. this, that, and the
Yeah,
third.
I still would take it over
I'm
most
staying.
most places.
I like to travel. I like to travel. So I want to thank you guys once again for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if they want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, for one, they can email us at playactionboston@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, and Facebook is
Play Action Boston on Facebook, and Play Action Radio on Twitter.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
We're going to stay in touch with you, and I want to make sure that I keep getting those updates.
Okay.
Okay?
No problem.
So we're going to go to a brief commercial. The next one that's coming up is, like I said, it's going to be a little suspicious to you all, but you'll get a chance to meet him. And I know my techie's going to tell you guys the best and the newest stuff that's going on. I actually received an email from him, and he'll tell you what that email is all about. We'll take a brief break. This is Boss Lady News, and we'll see you in just a moment.
Hey, Lemon, you want some smoke?
Nah, man, I'm good.
Hey, I'm not trying to hurt you, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to get you high. What do you say?
Nah, man, I don't smoke weed. I smoke clowns like you on a b-ball court.
You gotta work on something else for you to say, dude.
Man, I know. It was the first thing I could think of.
But you did good, though, little brother.
Big brothers who live above the influence
Proud of you.
have little brothers who live above the influence.
If you're not in control, who is?
This is BossLady News. Thank you for coming back. You got an opportunity to meet Leroy and Cerrone of Play Action Sports, and hopefully you got to hear the news at the beginning of the show. They want to open up a second bio lab here in Boston. Please check it out, and make sure you check out Play Action Sports. Now you're going to get an opportunity to find out about the tech stuff that I get to find out about, and I only get to find that out from my techie. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so very simply, you sent me an email.
Yes.
And this email was in reference to droids.
Or Android is what the technical term is.
Or Android. What's the problem? What's the email about?
The email was just a quick blurb about the Android operating system and how fragmented it is. It's just a lot of devices, a lot of...
When you say fragmented like fractions, like little, what do you mean by fragmented?
By fragmented, I mean if you take a look at a puzzle and how it's in hundreds of pieces, you pull it out of the box, you put it on the floor, and you go through the pieces and you're wondering to yourself, where am I going to start? What corner am I going to take? How am I going to get this puzzle together? That's what fragmented means.
Okay.
It's a ton of pieces, a ton of operating systems that it's not one solid, clean operating system.
And this is what happens with Android.
Yes.
So the operating system that's available on an Android.
The Android is the operating system. That's the name of it. It's available on several different types of phones.
Okay. And what do you mean by it's fragmented? Everyone gets droids. Droids
Yes.
are like the most popular phones.
Yeah, that's true. Droids are the most popular types of phone out right now. But there are so many different types of phones, so many flavors, so many from Samsung to Nokia to Motorola, all up and down the spectrum from high-end phones to lower-end phones. And each phone has, it comes with Android. However, the Android operating system itself is not the latest and greatest flavor of Android, which is 4.0.
Okay. So, layman's term. I like food. I like food. You guys know that. Explain this to me as if you were like a cook. So there's the dishes, and each dish is a cell phone. And then these operating systems, which is the cell phone, they're fragmented. So those fragments are like the spices.
There are all the different types of spices, all the flavors that you're going to add to the dish to get ultimately the main meal. But what spice are you going to use? Salt, cayenne flavor, hot, spicy. You know, what flavor is good for you? What do you like? At the end of the day, you can take a bunch of different spices, but not like it. You have a brand new spice that was just imported from overseas. Now you have a totally brand new spice, a brand new operating system. What are you going to work with? Will you work with the older spices that you've been working with before, or will you try the new spice that you just got a few days ago? That's what fragmented is. It's so many options. In one way, yes, it is an open community. You have your option. You have your different phones, your different operating systems. It's an Android, but the Android operating system itself is very different. So,
I remember you telling me something. You had said that every Android can't get every app, and every app is not formatted for every type of Android phone that's out there. So then what are these people doing when they buy a phone?
they buy a phone mostly for what they like on it. It could be very plain. It could have a lot of user interface applications that they enjoy. But you do bring up a very valid point about the apps. If you're an app developer, you're a software developer, where are you going to start? What app are you going to develop for which Android phone? You have the latest and greatest flavor. That's the Samsung or the Motorola Razr. And they are running the latest Android operating system. Okay, so you create an app for that. But then you're going to have to go back to square one to create an app for Android 2.3 or 3.3.
So the same phone cannot always get that app.
That's correct. If it's an older phone, chances are it's running an older operating system of Android. Chances are you won't be able to get that new app onto the older phone.
So the app that I was planning on making, I may not be able to get it on every phone that every person out there buys. Like
No,
that's incredible to imagine.
You can get it on every single phone if you have the time and money to sit down and work on 400 different phones. And
400?
That's not including the Android tablets. So there are, I was online doing some research, and I did see a conference room table covered with Android phones, totally different phones, about 400. What are you going to work with? Would you rather work with the first Android phone, the newest Android phone? They're all over the place. That's fragmented. What are you, as an application developer, going to do?
Wow. So just so everyone kind of gets an opportunity to understand that, if I were to create an app, the app for a Droid phone, the app wouldn't fit or wouldn't be able to be accessible to every Droid phone. That's too much time for me to have to spend. 400 different phones, the same app, oh my goodness. As opposed to like Apple.
You have the iPhone. You have the App Store. You create one app. You don't have to modify it. It'll work on the iPhone 4S, the iPhone 4, and even the iPhone 3G, the 3GS, which is 3 years old, 3 generations back. Oh. It'll also work on the iPads, iPad 1, 2, and 3. So what would you rather work with, 400 different phones or one app, one device?
One couple, 400, definitely not. Oh my goodness. Every time I sit down with you, and this is why we're going to roll this, and I just want to stay in touch with you all the time because I need to know what's going on. Like, next time I'm going to make an app, I'm going to make sure I'm making it for the iPhone, either one of them, Mac and iPad. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you again for having me.
I know some of the information that you'd be giving me in reference to technology is classified, and you'll be only able to get that here on BossLady News. And I want to thank you for watching. We're going to go to a